we want to close the door just in case like there's nothing? This is the Rules and Ethics Committee. We're meeting in the Student Government Conference Room in the Wright Student Union. Today is April 3rd, 2026, and I call this meeting to order at 9:38 a.m. Please be aware that this meeting may be filmed or audio recorded. These records, including our meeting minutes, may be made available to the public. We're going to start with attendance.
Samantha Gamey,
Taylor Deeds,
Adam Herdman,
Sean Spielberg,
Callie Bowden,
Berkeley Mars,
Olivia Ujak,
And Zoe Metchik. The chair is here. Quorum has been established with 8 members present. Okay. Will any members of the public please state their name?
Kayla Aurora.
Thank you. Okay, so we are now going to read we're going to start with absences, which we hear individually, starting with this absence from the meeting on the 29th, which was submitted on the 29th. The reason was an academic commitment. They had a mandatory performance for their class, and the proof is a submission on their Canvas with the class, just like with the assignment. It says they have to attend 1 of 2 professional dance performances. None of them are on the 29th. Wait. Unless it's, yeah. None of them are on the 29th. This one says March 24th, this one says March 10th and 11th. Do I hear any motions?
I move to fail this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. This next one was submitted on the 30th for the meeting on the 31st. The reason was they had Keystone Florida Trade and Tourism Day. Do I hear any motions?
What date was that?
It was on
The Keystone?
the 31st, yeah.
I motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections?
point of information,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it only, like exam days and academic commitments? I don't think separate organizations.
Yes. So, do you wanna,
I motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent.
you have to rescind your,
I rescind my first motion, and I motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent.
okay, there's been a motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, this next absence was submitted on the 30th for the meeting on the 31st. The reason being, they had senior ceremony. They submitted it and they say in their notes that it's an unexcused absence. I think they were just letting us know that they weren't gonna be there.
Oh.
So sweet of them. Okay, do I hear any motions?
I motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. This next one was submitted on the 31st for the meeting on the 31st. The reason being a religious ceremony the night before Passover at UFSG-SPAN. And the proof is the holiday calendar from Chabad. Do I hear any motions?
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, this next one was submitted on the 31st for the meeting on the 31st. The reason being they had an orthodontics procedure in Canton. And the picture is a doctor's note. Do you hear any motions?
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. If it helps, just until you guys memorize, I don't know if you've memorized it or not, like the reasons an absence may be approved or not approved as excused, you can always pull it up in the codes, if that's helpful, just like Command F absence in the 300 codes. Okay, moving on. So this next one was submitted on the 31st, for the meeting on the 31st, the reason being they were home for the Jewish holiday of Passover. Are there any motions? This one.
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. This next one was submitted on the 31st, for the meeting on the 31st, and the reason being that they're on the executive board for the John Marshall Bar Association of the law school. They had an incident regarding elections rules, and 3 of us, plus the parties involved, are having a judicial hearing, tonight at 7, and then meeting independently to discuss what to do next. Point of information, this is also a law subject. However, it's not clear whether the John Marshall Bar Association is required for their program.
Information.
Mm-hmm.
We can table.
Mhm.
I actually table this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to table this absence, by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. This next one was submitted on the 31st, for the meeting on the 24th. The reason being, their family member was put into emergency surgery that morning. They went to the hospital, and have been in the hospital since. Do I have any motions at this time?
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. This next one was submitted on the 31st, in the meeting on the 31st. The reason being, very sick, was planning on going to Summit tonight, but cannot stop sneezing. My eyes are watery and I'm exhausted. Do I hear any motions at this time?
Point of information, is there a doctor's note?
There is not, however, the precedent that we've set in the committee is that if you describe your symptoms, cause people sometimes just like have a fever and stay home and don't necessarily go to the doctor, but don't wanna get anyone else sick, so we tend to approve those absences, in former committee meetings.
I move to approve this absence.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence, wait, sorry, is that by unanimous
By
consent?
unanimous consent.
By unanimous consent, are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, this next one was submitted on the 31st, or sorry, on the 1st for the meeting. Reason being illness, had to go to the hospital for treatment, and this one does have a doctor's note. Do I hear any motions?
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, this next one was submitted on the 31st, or sorry, on the 2nd for the meeting on the 31st, 2nd of April. The reason being illness, received concussion earlier and was in the emergency room, receiving a CT scan during the time the Senate meeting was happening. And they also have attached a doctor's note.
I move to approve this absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. I also want to review 2 absences that we tabled from the last meeting. So this first one was submitted on the 3rd for the meeting on the 3rd. The reason being an exam interview. For the meeting record, can you please state your name?
Marco Salvador.
Has entered the room. Hi. This next one was submitted, okay, so I'll just restart. It was submitted on the 3rd for the meeting on the 3rd, and it says the reason was an exam and interview, and we had tabled it originally because the exam submission on Canvas wasn't for the date of the, Senate meeting. However, when I talked to the senator, they also said they had an interview, so we wanted to make sure that that wasn't also conflicting. But, they said they didn't have any record of their interview and didn't like wanna submit any additional information. So do I hear any motions at this time?
I move to fail this absence by
Okay.
unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. The next one that we had tabled was also for the meeting on the 3rd, submitted on the 3rd, and the reason was that, their work as a graduate student requires them to be here late to complete data for an experiment before the deadline. They had to do it during Senate because they otherwise didn't have access to the equipment that they needed. I reached out to the senator and haven't heard back. So do we wanna move forward with this absence?
I move to absence by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to fail this absence by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, with that, we're gonna move into constituency. We look, we don't have that many submissions, guys, so we're almost done. So this first piece of constituency was submitted on the 29th for the meeting on the 25th. The reason being budget bash, and it's a picture of them at budget bash. It's like a Snapchat picture with them and then budget bash. Oh wait, sorry. Yes. Do I hear any motions before we hear constituency?
I move to your constituency as a block by unanimous consent.
Thank you. There's been a motion to hear constituency as a block by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. Okay, now I'm gonna just go bang through them. Okay, so this was submitted on the 29th for the meeting on the 25th, reason being budget bash, and it's a student government event, picture of them at the event. The next one was submitted on the 1st for the meeting on the 26th, and the event is community service from 2:30 to 3:30. Says volunteered at the Carolyn Beatrice Parker Elementary School through Champions Our Readers. We weren't allowed to take pictures of the kids, but this is my friend and I there, as well as approval through my sorority for community service. And the picture is what they just said, a picture of them there, and then a picture of their sorority letter. Okay, this next one was submitted on the 1st for the meeting on the 1st, a graduate student organization or meeting or special event, and the description is general body meeting of graduate student council, included a presentation from UFSG-SPAN representative as well as officer reports, and it's a picture of them at the event. This next one was submitted on the 2nd for the meeting on the 2nd, city or county commission meeting, and the description is city commission regular meeting, picture of them on the Zoom. This next one was submitted on the 2nd for the meeting on the 27th, budget bash and student government event. It's a picture of them at budget bash. It's like the Snapchat dual camera thing. This next one was submitted on the 2nd for the meeting on the 2nd, community service from 1 to 3, and it says they volunteered at Bread of the Mighty, and it's a picture of them outside Bread of the Mighty. This next one was submitted on the 22nd, on the 2nd for the meeting on the 1st. The reason being MBAA elections, and it's a picture of them at UFMBAA, like that's what it says on the screen. And this is for a graduate student organization meeting or special event. And this last one was submitted on the 2nd for an event on the 2nd, a graduate student organization meeting or special event, and it says apps and apps application advice hosted by MBAA. And it's a meeting with them, or it's a picture of them at the same meeting. I think they just submitted it twice. For 2 different days of the event. Okay, so seeing as that concludes all the constituency that we have here, do I hear any motions at this time?
I move to approve the block of constituencies by unanimous consent.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the block of constituency by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that motion passes. And seeing as we have no other business to attend to, I adjourn this meeting at 9:51 a.m.